Y'all ready? Chapter 18. As they walked, Eva could not help but notice the side glances Aiden got from many of the passing women. To his credit, there were none of the slick glances back their way when he thought she wasn't looking, the way Kevin used to try and unsuccessfully do. No, he seemed totally and completely focused on her and Jester, like they were some sort of little city family unit, and the scenario filled her with panic. Ooh, I'm starting off already. It was still early morning, and she didn't know what had gotten into her. Perhaps coming off of a love-making high, but Aiden had talked her into joining him to walk Jester and grab some breakfast out. It was Saturday morning, and they didn't have to film. Eva was clad in easy shorts and a tee with the baseball caps and shade worn to cover her features by way of disguise. As for Aiden, he too wore shorts and a baseball cap, though, at least according to her, hiding his hunky features was a lot harder. Even with his cap and shades, she felt she would be able to spy him out from blocks away. And the fact that he had the nerve to be this hunky guy walking a ridiculously cute little mutt did nothing for them going incognito. I don't think this is the best idea, Eva said again, as a jogging blonde almost bashed into a tree after tripping over Jester's leash while she was busy breaking her neck double checking Aiden. Eva pulled a frown, while Aiden played it cool and stayed totally focused on saving Jester from disaster, sidestepping the blonde as she embarrassedly skipped away. Eva could tell, though, that he was furrowing his brows behind his shades over her comment. It's fine, we're just two colleagues out walking a dog and picking up some breakfast. If we're for some reason questioning, this is a business breakfast. The business being, I've got to get some food in me because you have worn me the hell out, woman. At his joke, Eva couldn't help but laugh, and when she did, he leaned in and nudged at her shoulder, and for a moment she thought he might actually kiss her. She quickly stepped back and frowned up at him. Ouch, princess. Your wounds go deep. And you are playing with fire. We've only got a few weeks to go. No need to mess up now. Eva saw his full lips thin. Of course, no stopping a woman on a mission. She let out a sign, then looked up as they reached a restaurant with outdoor tables where they could eat and sit with Jester. Come on, don't be like that. We're out, right? This is our time. Let's just enjoy it, have some food, and then get back to real business. She gave him a bright smile that she hoped held no indication of the turmoil she was feeling over just taking a stroll with him outside. Over just taking a few moments to play with the idea that in some alternate universe they could possibly be a couple. Hmm. The, the teaser of it was torture. She should have never let him talk her into this. It was a huge mistake, and their relationship should never have gone any further than her apartment door. Her stupid heart couldn't handle it. Back home, she shielded herself behind her bathroom door as she tapped at her cell phone. E. I'm in trouble. C. Oh hell, what's up? Do I need to call in reinforcements? E. I think I've fallen. You know you've fallen, girl. C. So I take it's not for any other. C. So I take it. They be mixing up these words. So I take it's not for any of your intended matches. Eva stared at her phone while she leaned on her bathroom sink and thought of what to text to Corey finally and thought what to text Corey. Finally she typed, E, no, it's A that I've fallen for. C, is that really so bad? E, it is. C, oh honey, I'm sorry. I wish I were there to tell you this in person. If you've fallen, you've got to get the hell up. Eva took one look at Miguel Diaz and let out a low breath. She didn't mean for it to come out so loudly, but one glance Aiden way and she knew her mask was momentarily dropped and she'd blown her cover. Yeah, he must have heard her if his steely eyes and tight jaw were any indication. But damn, who could blame her? This Miguel Diaz looked good. Once again, she was wrangled into another date at another fitness center, but this time her date was nothing like overpumped Iron Man Trey Stone. Yes, Miguel was tall and muscled, but that's where the similarities ended. His muscles had a longer, lither quality. He had ink black hair, cut shorter at the back and sides, with a nice wave that swooped over in the front, highlighting the most gorgeous, sparkling green eyes. She would have had to be half blind to not notice his good looks right away. The guy could be a model, hell, a soap star, maybe even on a telenovela where the guys really have to be all around hotties. And that wasn't a half of it. He greeted her by lightly taking her hand, raising it, giving it a soft kiss on the knuckles, and then saying smoothly, deeply, and almost musically, "Hello, Eva. I have been so looking forward to meeting you." With the sexy accent she just about swooned over. Hell, even the heart in Louisa sucked in a breath, and Eva definitely sensed a few of the PAs, both male and female, flutter. How could they not? The man was walking sex. Hello. Eva fought to get her cool back. She was on camera and still had to be on task with getting her image back on track. Get in the game, girl. You can do this. The world is watching. She swallowed as she slowly pulled her hand away, purposely ignoring the prickles on her neck that let her know how hard Aiden was staring. "It's so nice to meet you." It was then that Eva looked around the room where they were meeting and had her first letdown of the day. The room looked like your normal workout room. It was neat, well lit room and mirrored on three sides, but hooks hung from the ceiling with long swaths of fabric. She suddenly got even more prickly as various BDSM images jumped into her head. Just how far were they trying to push the envelope with this morning show? She tried to make her voice sound light as she looked at Miguel. "So, I hear you're a yoga instructor?" He smiled, hitting her and the camera with the full force of his devastation. Eva almost laughed out loud. Yeah, there was no way this guy was really looking for a wife on this show. He was definitely in it for fame. She let out a breath and smiled. Oh well, he was good looking, and who could blame him? Maybe when this was all over, they could take him on as a client. He definitely had star quality. I am. I teach Ashtanga, and yeah, I can't pronounce that one. And once again, the mask fell as Eva giggled with the way he rolled his L's, making the word sound positively dirty and made her want to both strip and at the same time cross her legs. She looked over at Aiden's stern expression and burst out laughing full on. "What is it?" Miguel asked. But she couldn't stop laughing at the unlikely absurdity of it all. Here she was, secretly sleeping with one man who, for the record, just hours earlier, had performed his own version of exactly what Miguel had her thinking about while she was eye banging him. There was no way Kevin could accuse her of being prude now. She was a social misfit and an emotional mess, but a prude she was not. Just the thought cracked her up even more, and the laugh came from somewhere deep in her belly. "Are you okay?" Miguel asked again, placing a hand on her shoulders. She nodded her head and shook her hands out. "Pull it together, Ward," she inwardly told herself before telling Miguel. "I'm fine." Eva looked over at Lou, who now was looking at her like she had grown two heads and purposely didn't look Aiden's way. "I'm fine. Sorry, let's begin." "Great," Miguel continued. "I heard you like yoga." Eva nodded again, feeling more together and infinitely more relaxed after getting that laugh out. "Good, because today we're going to do something a little different. I plan to make you fly." Her usual self quickly snapped back into place at the threat of something different. She instantly looked up at the hooks and the fabric hanging from them. I'm not doing anything kinking, darling. We've only just met. Miguel laughed. Don't worry. Kinky is reserved for my personal skills at home. And there it was. His tale that pushed him into the first disaster column. Eva frowned deepened and she looked Aiden's way. He was looking at the monitor now, but his head came up and his eyes met her. I'm not sure I know or like where this is headed. So, you've never done anti-gravity yoga? Miguel asked. Eva blinked, giving a small head shake to the stoic Aiden, who looked like he was ready to take one of the silks hanging from the ceiling and strangle Miguel with it. Uh-oh, that wouldn't do. Though it would make for exciting TV, it definitely wouldn't do. She then looked up at the hooks with the large swaths of blue fabric attached. Trying to keep her voice light, she spoke. Why would I like to do anti-gravity anything? Gravity is a good thing. It keeps us grounded. Without it, we'd be flying off into space. He grinned. So I take it you're the type who likes to stay grounded. Eva raised a brow. Nothing wrong with that. Miguel shook his head and made a sort of a t sound that annoyed her to no end. What's that for? Oh, it was nothing. I'm sorry. Eva crossed her arms. You were judging me, Mr. Silky Swing. Miguel put his hands up. I was not. There was no judgment here, none at all. I was just hoping you'd give it a try. You never know. Feeling weightless may be something you like. Eva felt her brows draw together tight, but finally she uncrossed her arms. Fine, Silky, let's go at it. I won't have it said that I'm not a team player. When she looked over at Aiden this time, his expression had miraculously changed from one of a barely checked rage to one of a barely concealed enjoyment. Now she was the one who wanted to jump across the monitor and wring a neck. Oh, they so funny. And cute all at the same time. Aiden was pissed. He was pissed and growly, and if that smooth, silky gigolo ran his hand up Eva's thigh one more goddamn time, he was going to go over there, kick his ass, and hang him by the balls, using his own fucking silks. How could he ever have thought this type of date was a good idea? Thought it would be amusing, no less. Show what he knew about fun family programs. He watched as indifferently as he could while the good-looking charmer took Eva through a series of sensual moves, clearly better suited for the bedroom than for the mixed company at hand. Things started out well enough with the usual sun salutation and downward dog, which they did separately on their respective mats. But then the guy had the nerve to step out of his lane, come over and lift Eva by the trim waist and smoothly place her in the makeshift scarf swing that hung above her, taking the fabric and easing it gently around her buttocks. That was when Aiden crossed his arms and locked them tight around his chest to hold them in place for the safety of all involved, and he hadn't uncrossed them since. Aiden watched as Miguel took Eva to trust him as he put her into something called a monkey pose and asked her to lean back into him, way back, letting her head fall all the way to the ground so she ended up supported only by her crossed legs and the silk wraps around them. Aiden's jaw dropped at the sight of her heart-shaped behind on display in such a way. It only got worse when Miguel told Eva to trust him further and had her spread her legs wide while he held her balanced and stood centered between them. With a gentle push to her outer calves, she swung forward and back towards his groin. Aiden couldn't help it and groaned aloud at the sight as he finally unlocked his arms and ran a frustrated hand through his hair. Louisa shot him a look. She always on point. She be looking. And he gave her one right back. Fuck it. How in the world did this guy get into the mix? He was billed as yoga instructor, not some new age holistic gigolo. To calm himself, Aiden considered all the heads he planned on rolling over this particular pig. Louisa did it. Shit. Damn. If that didn't reek of something his father would do, your father, Carter, or Louisa. But he didn't like seeing Eva pawned over in such a way, or even worse, he hated that he cared as much as he did about the whole situation. But care he did. After their talk, he had felt even more twisted than before, and worse, he was more attracted than ever, doing what he told himself not to do, never to do. When you got emotionally attached to a subject, your judgment was off. And here clearly his judgment was off. He closed his eyes briefly and then decided to look at the screen instead of at the scene in front of him. At least he could let the HD version take the place of watching up close and give him a bit of an emotional space. Be objective, he told himself as he watched Miguel bring Eva back up. She smiled and her soft brown cheeks took on a rosy glow. He smiled to himself. Despite it all, it was nice to see her looking happy. This was the first date on which he had witnessed her smile like that, the first of which she had that glow that he now knew came from deep within. And if the silky swirler did that for her, then he had to accept it and be happy for her. He knew her. The smile he saw now wasn't her fake, we're rolling smile, and it wasn't a smile she gave him either. The one that was genuine and real, but hidden in the way back behind the depths, filled with that hidden sense of regret that she thought he didn't detect. Seeing her now, smiling, laughing, and genuinely having fun while swinging with this dude, he felt happy for her, though it ripped at his core in a way he wasn't prepared to deal with. Eva stepped out in front of the Silks and was led by Miguel to go behind them and then forward, front first into a downward dog, but with her feet in the air. Aiden's mind instantly went to how he loved to have her in that position himself. As if reading his thoughts, she looked his way for a moment, right before her head went forward. He gave her a grin he knew she couldn't see from where he was behind the monitor, but still her mouth quirked up at the corner anyway, as if they were in mental sync. And he couldn't help but shake his head and make a silent promise to her to send her flying as she'd never flown later that night. Okay, a good competition, huh, Aiden? I didn't see that one coming. I did not know they was going to put somebody that could kind of like match Aiden and make Eva, consider. But that was a good one. Aiden is mad, but he in love, so it comes with the territory. So let's see what chapter 19 gonna bring. See y'all in the next chapter. Bye.